In Trinidad, it definitely is a one-of-a-kind experience. There's definitely like a lot of curry. There's something called doubles. Doubles is very unique to Trinidad, and they are amazing. It's very hard to explain, but it's basically two slices of kind of like this fried bread, and there's special. I don't know how to explain it. But if you ever get a double, if you don't like spicy, do not ask for pepper. And even if slight pepper, that's still pretty hot. So if you ate a lot of pepper, you'll cry. Like I had it the first time, I just had slight pepper, and my eyes were still watering. So, but definitely if you ever go to Trinidad, doubles is a must. They have a double stand right by the airport, so you should go there. The people, there's a lot of different jobs. There's so much. There's KFCs, Subways, McDonald's, like everywhere. There's social workers, there's hospitals. Something that's very interesting is something called a maxi. A maxi is kind of like a bus system. Depending on their color code is depending on where they're going, whether they go like east, west, north, south. And you pay for however long you're on it. Not like time-wise, but like for destination to destination. So it's kind of like a taxi, but like huge and just picks up everyone. There's also small, like actual taxis. On the license plate, you'll see whether or not they're just a normal car or whether or not they're a taxi. Because a normal car and a taxi look exactly the same except their license plate. And so you can just like wave out and like a car will just stop by. And there might be other people in it, you'll just hop in. As missionaries, you kind of have to be careful. You should not hop in a taxi alone with a woman. You're alone in her car. Even if it's kind of public, it's not very public. It's kind of private. It's their own private taxi car. It's their car. There's not a clock in, a clock out. It's their own private most of the time. The Trinidadian dollar, there's about, for every 7 Trinidadian dollars is about $1 US. And so, like I saw some Trinidadian money. Most missionaries try and get the $50 bill because it's the coolest. It's like partly see-through. Probably the culture, one of the biggest things they're famous for is carnival. So if you've ever seen the movie Rio, they have like carnival that they show in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Trinidad is like probably the second best in the world after Rio de Janeiro. There's a part where like missionaries just can't leave their apartment for like extended period of time because like it's not okay to go on the streets. So there's a lot of, it's normally around February and March. So there's a lot of excitement there. There's like a whole bunch of prep for that. People get excited. It's definitely part of their culture. So it's very, you see a lot of people, especially when it's their first carnival being a member. It's kind of different for them. There's definitely a lot of crime in Trinidad, but I'm sure that's like wherever you go. There's just like something that's very interesting is that you, being a white female, they just kind of like stare at you sometimes because like you're so beautiful. So sometimes they'll just give you free stuff. So the sister missionaries will give us free stuff sometimes. There are men who have like coolers of soda or their fruit, and so at big stoplights, when it's backed up, they will come out and just go car to car trying to sell, if that makes sense. So that's pretty frequent. In Trinidad, they drive on the left side of the road. So that's, so just be prepared for that if you have to drive. You can get your Trinidad driver's license, actually. It's kind of cool to take home. If white shirts, long sleeve means that you're the boss. Short sleeve means that you're kind of like an assistant. And so, of course, we wear short sleeves most time as missionaries, but if you do receive like more respect in businesses if you wear long sleeve. So most of the time when you'd work in the office, you'd wear long sleeve, and if you're going to go do certain things. The financial secretary most of the time wears long sleeve whenever he makes financial transactions at a bank. And that's something that most people don't know, so it's kind of only the businessmen know. Let's see where the mission home is. It's one of the most nicest places in Trinidad. a lot of people will build their own homes. They will take concrete bricks and build them. And most of them, like a lot of people I taught, were living in homes that their father built, or they just made an addition on to the house, and their dad lives still on part of the house. They live on the other part. They just made an addition. So that's one thing, is that also Trinidad is very big on family. They have a lot of family gatherings. And a lot of people really do believe in God. So there's a lot of people that are Hindu and Muslim. There's something called Indian Expo, where people from India actually come over to Trinidad. And so you can buy a lot of things. It's kind of like a bargaining. So my first time I kind of felt bad, because like I was like trying to talk them down. Like, no, like Indian Expo, like I don't want to pay this much money for this much, but you're supposed to talk them and talk them down the price at least. And so it is very, very interesting. You do have to receive like the First Presidency's permission if the family is very, very Muslim, because they can be targeted if they become a Christian. Hindus, they are just so open. They're like the nicest people. And most of the time the members that were Hindu and then converted, they are one of the strongest, because they really learned who Christ was. And they have a very strong testimony of him. And so because of that, sometimes you will be teaching people that do not know who Jesus Christ is. Most of the time they might have heard about him, but not known him seriously. Most Muslims know who Jesus Christ is because they consider him a prophet. So just be prepared for that. Be prepared for, there's a lot of drinking in Trinidad, but it's just something very common people drink. It's just not I don't think you should be scared of it. Just like be prepared. There's a lot of Rastas. Just like go with the flow, one love, man. So I would say that's probably a lot of main highlights from Trinidad.
So after that, I went to Trinidad. That's where I finished my mission. I served in a place called Curup. And Trinidad's awesome. A stake was just organized there about 4 or 5 years ago. And that was the only time I served an award. And it was really, really cool. The people there are awesome. Trinidad's will just feed you till you die. And so I really like that. Their food's the best. Lots and lots of Indian people there, lots of Hinduism. But it was a really good place. It's a lot busier. Grenada was just a really quiet place. There was one main road that wound around the whole island. There's like one traffic light, just nothing. And Trinidad is a lot more Americanized, They have Wendy's there, which obviously makes it like America, and traffic lights. So it's a good place. It's a lot different, but it's a good place. And the people there are a lot more similar to Grenadians. So
my first country I served was Trinidad, and Arima was my first area I was in. Love Arima. Arima's amazing. And so we're in Arima, and it was the time, so I went down December of 97, so I guess it must have been January, February, March, one of those 3 months, because I was there for about 4 or 5 months. They have Carnival, and they have it every year. Carnival is it's a huge party in the whole country. Businesses will actually board up their windows. Any glass windows they have, they'll board them up and close their business down for the however many days Carnival is. And the instruction we got as missionaries was we were not allowed to go out during Carnival. We had to stay indoors. And I don't know how long it was. I'm guessing 3 or 4 days Carnival lasted. And so we had to stay indoors. The mission president wanted us to read the entire Book of Mormon during those 3 to 4 days. So that's what we did for 3 to 4 days. We read the entire Book of Mormon from cover to cover. And they say that that cabin fever is a myth. Some people say that, and it's not a myth. 3 to 4 days in your apartment and not being able to leave it was horrible. I mean, even though we had the Book of Mormon there to read, wasn't enough. Okay, we had to get out of there. So as soon as Carnival was done, and I think from our window, there was another building that was there, and then there was one of the main streets, and then another building. I think we were able to see 3 inches of Carnival and see people walking by and everything. And Yeah, so we saw itsy bitsy amount, but we even heard from the locals that not a good idea to go out during Carnival. That there's people everywhere, and I wish I could tell you more about Carnival, but I don't know anything about it. Maybe just seeing a few feathery things go by, but I heard there's a lot of immorality and suggestive things that go on, and so that's why they board things up. It gets pretty crazy. Lots of drinking and it's a huge party. It's a huge college party, I guess you could think of, and that's But Trinidad is very tropical and very it's the tropics meets the city. There's a lot of nice cities that you go through, lots of busy cars, but Trinidad's awesome. Amazing food again, just like all the other stuff. It's the best food I've ever had.